everyone, happy Cinco de Mayo. Today I'm going to show you a dish called chalupas, and I picked a particular type of chalupa, which is the Chalupas Poblanos, for a reason. Because Friday is Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May, and that's a special day in Mexico that is celebrated because it is when France, Napoleon, wanted to take over Mexico. And when he came to invade Mexico, the Mexicans were able to fend him off. And they had just newly won their independence from Spain. So they were in debt to other countries for their independence. But Napoleon decided it was a good time to just try to invade. And so, with all of the French military that came, they were defeated and they had to turn back. And there was a huge battle that happened in Puebla, which is the state of Puebla. And then Puebla also has a city that's called Puebla. So Puebla. And Puebla is actually the sister city of Pueblo. And so I thought we would celebrate Cinco de Mayo today with the Chalupas Poblanos, which are the chalupas from Puebla. And across Mexico, there's different ways of making chalupas. And so what I'm going to show you is actually kind of an easy way to do. It is not a healthy dish in the sense that there's a lot of fat to it, but it is pretty tasty. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you and then show you how we do it. So in this screen, we have some lard that is cooking. And the lard that is cooking can be pork, it can be Crisco, it can be whatever you have, and you don't have to use lard. You can actually cook your tortillas in olive oil or Crisco, whatever you want. And you're not going to have it at a super high heat. What you're doing is you're just placing your tortillas in the oil, and then you're going to just soften them up and get them well oiled. So when you flip it over, and you can use, corn tortillas that you buy at the store. If you decide you want to make your own, you definitely can do that. They do suggest if you make your own, you can even make them a little fatter and a little smaller. And so that might be something to do if you decide to go that route. But here I decided to use store-bought, and it was actually a pretty quick dish. So traditionally, and that is a green salsa, and that's a tomatillo salsa that you put on. And in Puebla, what they do, the poblanos, are where you're going to use salsa, but you're actually putting the salsa on the tortilla. And so it's cooking with the tortilla. And you're going to use green and you're going to use red. That's the traditional salsas to use. And so there I have my green and my red. And then there are different toppings that you can put in. Every state has a different way of making them. But with Puebla, I decided I'm just going to do what they normally do, which is the green and red salsa. And remember, the Mexican flag is white, red, and green. So that could be what's representing the Mexican flag there. Might be why they use it. And then, so you're going to have your salsa cooking on those tortillas. And you don't want those tortillas to get really hard like tostadas. That you do not want. So they're actually going to be pretty soft. And then here I am just putting some onions on there. And those are raw onions that I just chopped up. And you put that on. And then after the onions, I'm actually going to be putting chicken. And so I had some shredded chicken that I used, but you can use shredded pork or shredded chicken. Maybe if you're vegetarian, you could use mushrooms or nopalitos. And so here I'm also I'm going to put shredded chicken, and then I'm going to put cheese. And it can be any cheese you want. I used a queso seco, which is like a dry cheese, and that's what I put on there. But you can do, like a queso fresco or something like a fresh cheese. But let's see. And the queso seco that I use is sort of like Parmesan cheese. And so I'm just going to fast forward a little, and you can see there's the chicken. And you're just going to cook it for a little bit. And then I think I had already put, no, probably not. I think next I'm putting the cheese on there. And so I'm just going to fast forward. You do want them cooking, but it's really, you're just cooking them for like 3 minutes. It's not really very long. And what's interesting is as you're cooking it, the salsa and the chicken and the onions start cooking with it, with the tortilla kind of protecting it. And so that I'm just going to cook a little longer, but I'm going to fast forward for you guys because as you can see, it really was fast. And so now I'm just taking them out, and you have your red and green, and there it is. And they're pretty pliable. So you have your chalupas, and they are, sorry about that, they are very soft. And so you don't have to think of them as like tostadas. You can even fold them and kind of eat it like a taco if you wanted. That's actually how I did it because they're that soft. So you're not deep frying to the point where they're like hard like tostadas. You're just deep frying, you're frying it lightly, but it is a lot of oil. You're frying it, and then you're just gonna have like all that stuff cooking with it. So it's pretty kind of interesting. I'd never had chalupas before, except for the ones at Taco Bell, which I love. But these were a nice treat, and it was something pretty easy to do, as you can see. So if you want to eat something different for Cinco de Mayo, why don't you give some chalupas a try? And hopefully you'll enjoy them. Okay. Thank you so much for being with me today, and be safe on Cinco de Mayo and have a great celebration.